So we have a real serious and real complex situation unfolded in the WNBA, right? The Las Vegas Aces, Becky Hammon. This story is really not about the game of basketball, to be honest. This is about allegations of mistreatment, discrimination. Now there's some legal battles now that's about to be a part of this whole thing. It's about Dearica Hamby. She was traded to the Los Angeles Sparks in January 2023. She has alleged that she was mistreated by the Aces during her pregnancy. And these claims has led to a federal lawsuit now against the WNBA and her former team, accusing them of discrimination and retaliation. So this actually kind of cuts deep into the integrity of the sport of basketball and also the responsibilities of those in these leadership positions. Because listen, Lo, these accusations are not just a matter of us talking about it, but it's now a legal process. She's claiming that the Aces traded her because of her pregnancy, a move that she thinks that was rooted in discrimination. And we know who Hamby is. Her time with the Aces, two-time Six Women of the Year, Olympic bronze medal this year, and now she's fighting something that she thinks that is an injustice, right? Becky Hammon, another one, well-respected player figure in women's basketball. She's going public with it after the Aces win over the Sparks. And Becky Hammon refuted all of Hamby's allegations. She said that with emphasis, there was no form of complaints filed by Hamby through the usual channels, basically HR and the players union. She's insisting that she wanted to trade Hamby was because of a strategic move and it wasn't related to her pregnancy. So the defensive play on both sides for Becky, she's basically saying that there's no HR complaints. And there was only trade talks that started when Atlanta reached out. And she was saying that the move was about positioning the Aces to sign a player like Candace Parker rather than anything being personal. But the league's investigation found some fault, which led to Becky Hammon being suspended for 2 games, and they lost the 2025 first-round pick. But despite those actions by the W, Dearica, she's not satisfied with the outcome, so she's taking her fight further. She filed a complaint with the EEOC, which gave her that right to sue in federal court and everything. But this is one of those situations where the stakes is high, not just for Dearica, not just for Becky, but for the entire W real quick, right? And the outcome of this case can have kind of a lot of implications on how the league handles business now in regards to player treatment concerning pregnancy and the rights of women's athletes, to be honest. It's just a reminder to everybody that with sports, as much as it is about competition, it's about ethics, responsibility, and really how we kind of treat one another. I know K-Dot got a quote from Becky Hammon about her answer from the press conference. Go ahead and play it, brother.
I can give you some facts. Want some facts?
I do want facts, and I also want to know what would you tell people about your integrity as a coach and the integrity of the organization you work for?
Here's some facts. I've been in either the WNBA or the NBA for now 25 years. I've never had an HR complaint, never, not once. I still didn't actually, because Dearica didn't file any. She didn't file with the Players Union. She didn't file with the WNBA. Those are facts. It's also factual that nobody made a call about trading her until Atlanta called us in January. That's a fact. Okay. And so, to me, I mean, it just didn't happen. I'm sorry, the bullying. I spoke with her every day. If she wanted to practice, she practiced. If she didn't, she didn't. Over the top care, actually. Over the top care.
Yeah, so it's a lot going on, right? But honestly, and I know I'm talking too much, Lolo, I apologize.
Mm-hmm.
This is a real serious thing, right? And I know I can't go through what women go through, but as somebody that has 6 sisters, it does kind of bothers me because it underscores the importance of the league's role in protecting its players, ensuring that all these actions are taken by all these teams and the management, make sure everything is just fair and just, to be honest. So as this story continues to develop, we're going to be following it closely, everybody, because the truth will need to come out in court. But it's just really sad, to be honest. This is one of those moments where sports obviously intersects with the broader societal issues and everything, and that we got to pay attention. So we're definitely going to keep you updated. But I know that I was talking a little bit too much. My apologies, Lauren. Normally that's you. Lolo and Lotha King and Rosa Parks and Muhammad Ali and everything. But I really had to get that off because it's definitely it's sad. And I hope if it's true, heads got to roll. I don't care who you are. People, you can't have a job no more. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I agree. It's a very serious situation. I'll start with Becky first. Who the hell are their PR people? Like, why would you volunteer this information when it's literally a case going on, like an open case? Like, even if you believe that that's the truth, like, who's advising her? Because she was extremely eager to share her thoughts about what were facts. I just think it was very trivial for her to say, I've been in the WNBA and on the NBA side for 25 years and never had an HR complaint. How long did it take for R. Kelly to go to jail? How long did it take for people to admit that Bill Cosby was roofing them? Like, I'm sure people weren't saying that when they were at the peak of their career either. Just because you have no complaints doesn't mean that you didn't do shit. Like, what? Like, I just thought that was a poor way of expressing your innocence, I guess is the best way. Because just because you don't have a complaint year one doesn't mean that year 25 something can't happen and you could, be offensive to somebody. So that's my whole thing on Becky. This situation is near and dear to my heart because most of you guys know, of course, I am a mom. I have a 2.5-year-old. And just as a woman in general, and as a Black woman, which Dearica is, we are at a three times higher chance of dying from childbirth. So not only do we not know if we're going to survive having children, but then you have to deal with the bullshit from your employer. Like, it's ridiculous. I mean, I spoke about it on Spaces. I have personally been discriminated against for, being a mother. People say certain things like, I'm not going to go into detail, but when I told my supervisor I was pregnant, people say certain things that you don't have the liberty to say as my employer, because guess what? In America, we have maternity leave. We have these things that are supposed to be granted to us. So I can see both sides, right? The Aces are an organization, they're a business, and they thrive on winning championships and making money. So if someone is pregnant or cannot play, the person is not useful to them, essentially. But that's just a L that you're gonna have to take, because these women are literally playing during their childbearing years. What the hell you think gonna happen? Dearica and Skylar are not gonna be the last two women that are pregnant during the WNBA season, or just pregnant in general in the WNBA. So I think, aside from the Aces, aside from Phoenix, I think it's a foundational issue in the WNBA that needs to be solved. Like, these women are hooping, like I said, during their childbearing years. Whether you need to extend the roster so that it won't affect teams as much if someone goes out with pregnancy, I don't know which I need to do. However, it needs to be fixed. Like, if Dearica is truly saying that she feels discriminated against, like, it's silly when people say it's retaliation. Like, are y'all not smart? Like, this lady makes what? Let's say, I don't know how much she makes, but I would say it's between 175 and 220 a year, right? She has 2 kids. That ain't shit when you have 2 kids. I'm gonna just let y'all know that now. That's not a lot of money when you have 2 kids, and especially as a professional athlete. You think she's going to go up against a big entity like the WNBA for retaliation? You know how much money it's going to cost her to go to do this, to see this court case through? Like, so that's the irritating part to me. Another irritating part is people pick and choose. Because people don't like Dearica, they don't give a shit about her complaints, about her lobbying for women to be treated correctly. People were up in arms 2 years ago when everyone found out that Phoenix treated Skylar poorly. But why is it not the same energy for Dearica if she feels like she's truly been discriminated against? Like, anyone that feels like they've been discriminated against, whether it's ageism, for your sex, whatever the case may be, like, I just don't stand for that. And I know the Aces are like a popular team and a popular franchise, so people don't want to call them out, but I am, because that's ridiculous. If it did happen, it's ridiculous. Like, me reading court case reports that said that they allegedly looked at her medical charts or asked her what kind of birth control methods was she using. Bro, that's none of your business. That's HIPAA. It's literally illegal. Like, that is HIPAA. Like, it's just, for me, it's frustrating because it's such a stigma around women or athletes that become mothers, where they feel like these women are now going to deprioritize their sport and be less qualified to compete at a professional level when that's not true. I mean, you can even look at the Olympic runner, Allison Felix, who's won multiple gold medals. She dealt with this in 2019. Nike literally cut her pay in half because she was pregnant. Like, it's just unfair when you look at how women just persevere and show resilience and they're still just held back. Like Serena Williams, she literally won a Grand Slam 8 weeks pregnant. Carrie Walsh won an Olympic medal in volleyball at 5 weeks pregnant. So these women can perform. And the thing is, Dearica literally said that she would be back for the start of the season, and she kept her word and was back at the start of the season for the Sparks. So I just say all this to say that the language in the CBA needs to be changed. The players need to be protected. That's just what it is. Like it's hard for me to side with the WNBA or the Aces in this case, because if this young lady truly feels like she's been discriminated against and you taking your time, you taking your money, you're going to get harassed, like, and you still are pursuing this lawsuit, something happened. That's all I'm gonna say. Something had to happen, because no lawyer is going to tell you that this case can actually, like, you can actually see this case through if they don't believe that you have a chance at winning. And then last thing I'll say is Devereaux Peters, who played for the Minnesota Lynx and also Notre Dame. I don't know if y'all got a chance to see it, but if you haven't, check out her thread that she did today. And just basically saying how she had an encounter with the WNBA as well. And because her dad is an attorney, she found out that some of the things that they were doing were illegal. So she basically went to the union and told them, like, hey, I want to have a case against the WNBA. But the key that I didn't know is that the lawyer that you can have has to be a WNBA representative. So it's the WNBA against the WNBA. That needs to change. They're always going to look out for the WNBA's best interest. That has got to change. And she also made a good point that a lot of illegal stuff goes on. People just don't report it because they don't think anything's going to happen. So for Becky to sit there and say, I haven't been reported to HR, girl, stuff has probably been going on, but people just haven't reported you. Like, so I just feel like we think that athletes are robots and they're supposed to put their life on hold so they can play a sport. If she's telling you, hey, I'm gonna be back to my best ability in shape, whatever the case may be, this is what it is. These women are childbearing ages. It's just a hard concept to understand. Hell, before this 2020 CBA, they made these women buy an additional hotel room for their child because they were sharing rooms with players. Like, players were sharing rooms, so you had to buy an additional room for your child. Like, they have to change. They have to change the maternity protocol. They have to change the maternity rules for these women. I am happy that they at least get a full maternity leave. Before 2020, they only got, I think, 50% of their pay or 60% of their pay. So we're moving in the right direction, but we're not where we are. I'm just a little bit disappointed in people's reaction to all of this because it just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. Also, you got these people on social media talking about why certain players, like when the Aces is not saying nothing to defend their coaches. Listen, this is an active investigation. They're not supposed to say you can't say nothing. Trying to call players out for being quiet. They absolutely have to be quiet. We all got to be better when it comes to situations like this. And it's just unfortunate. But like I said before, I pass it to you, Lo. When stuff come out, and if it's ugly, then people got to be held accountable. Heads got to roll. Coaching, part of ownership, part of leadership, whoever was involved, man, it might be curtains for you. And that's just my opinion, because this definitely can't go down. Can't be talking about sisterhood and all this other stuff, and y'all doing some other stuff. This is wild, man. I'm sorry.